All right, let's close out the weekend. It's about 7:30 p.m. on Sunday, June 8th. Um, if you don't know me, my name is Hawk. I have been a licensed practicing trial attorney in San Francisco for about a little more than 26 years. I am a politics and news junkie, and those are the things that I talk about on my channel. If you like this video, please click like, leave a comment. Please subscribe to my page. It is free to do so. So we're going to close out. Yesterday and today, I've been highlighting some articles from the website The Atlantic. And anybody who's followed me for any amount of time knows that there are three websites. I should also say my politics are extremely left. They're very, very far on the left. I don't know how to describe those. I just know the things that I'm in favor of. I will leave the labeling of those positions to others. And most of the people who engage in that kind of labeling I find to be incredibly insufferable. Oh man, who's more fun than the left? Holy shitballs. What a miserable group of people. But, you know, that's where I find myself. So anyway, um, I've been highlighting some articles from The Atlantic this weekend. I do think it's very valuable for people to subscribe to that site. The last one that I'm going to cover this weekend was posted to their website today, June 18th, 2025, Sunday, about 2:15 p.m. Eastern Time, following yesterday's events in Los Angeles and last night's events with Donald Trump signing an executive order deploying the National Guard to conduct military policing on the streets of an American city in violation of the Posse Comitatus Act. The last article that I'm going to talk about is by Tom Nichols, one of my favorite writers and one of my favorite commentators, even though I disagree with him on very many things. I find him to be very eloquent and very clear and concise in his arguments. This article is entitled, "Trump is Using the National Guard as Bait. Do not give him the pretext that he wants." From the article, President Donald Trump is about to launch yet another assault on democracy, the Constitution, and American traditions of civil-military relations, this time in Los Angeles, California. Under a dubious legal rationale, he is activating 2,000 members of the National Guard to confront protests against actions by ICE, the immigration police, who have used thuggish tactics against citizens and foreigners alike in the United States. By militarizing the situation, you know, it's like, and they're headed up by this fucking human trailer park thumb, Tom Holman, who just, I mean, it's like every time I see this fucking clown on the news, he's acting all rough and tough and macho and aggro and alpha. And he just looks like he's coming off a fucking 5-day bender in a dive bar. I mean, it's like you see this guy on screen, on TV, and you look at him and you're like, I know exactly what he smells like, and it's bad. Anyway, by militarizing the situation in Los Angeles, Donald Trump is goading Americans more generally to take him on in the streets of their own cities, thus enabling his attacks on their constitutional freedoms. This motherfucker wants blood in the streets, man. Him, Stephen Miller, Tom Holman, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, Kristi Noem, they want blood in the streets. As I've listened to Trump and his advisors over the past several days, they seem almost eager for public violence that would justify the use of armed force against Americans. I feel validated. The president and the men and women around him are acting with great ambition in this moment, and they are likely hoping to achieve three goals in one dramatic action. First, They will turn America's attention away from Trump's many failures and inane feuds and reestablish his campaign persona as a strongman wearing a maxi pad on one of his ears who will brush aside the law if that's what it takes to keep order in the streets. Perhaps nothing would please Trump more, I was going to mention this too, than to replace the weird stories about Elon Musk with video of masked protesters burning cars as lines of helmeted, short-dicked police and soldiers march over them and impose draconian silence in one of the nation's largest and most diverse cities. It is an endless source of amusement to me that they think they're going to be able to do this in Los Angeles, of all places. Second, as my colleague David Frum warned this morning, I did a video about his article today as well. Trump is establishing that he is willing to use the military any way he pleases, perhaps as a proof of concept for suppressing free elections in 2026 or 2028. Trump sees the United States military as suckers and losers. Wait, no, I read that wrong. Trump sees the United States military as his personal honor guard and his private muscle. I was going to make a joke about Trump's private muscle. But then I rethought that. The military are his toy soldiers. And he's going to get a show from his honor guard in a birthday parade next weekend. That's right. Next weekend is June 14th. In the meantime, he is going to flex that muscle. Donald Trump is going to flex his private muscle and prove that the officers and service members who will do whatever he orders are the real military. Oh, here we go. The rest are suckers and losers. I knew Tom wouldn't leave me hanging, man. During the George Floyd protests of 2020, Donald Trump was furious at what he saw as the fecklessness of military leaders determined to thwart his attempts to use deadly force against protesters. He's learned his lesson. This time, he has installed a hapless sycophant at the Pentagon who is itching to execute the boss's orders. He is speaking, of course, of Secretary of Defense, alcoholic rapist, allegedly, Pete Hegseth. Third, Trump may be hoping to radicalize the citizen soldiers drawn from the community who served in the National Guard. Tom is, of course, addressing the Gravy Seals, Meal Team 6, Al-Qaeda, mouth-breathing, fart-huffing MAGA ammosexuals that Donald Trump wants to use to police America's streets. Seizing the California National Guard is also a convenient way to humiliate California Governor Gavin Newsom and Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, with the president's often used narrative that liberals can't control their own cities, which is weird coming from a president who can no longer control his own bowels. Donald Trump has the right to federalize guard forces, arguably, which is how they were deployed overseas in America's various military conflicts. Iraq, Afghanistan, Guyana. Who remembers that? Or no, Grenada. Sorry. He has never respected the traditions of American civil-military relations, which regard the domestic deployment of the military on U.S. soil as an extreme measure to be avoided whenever possible, or at all costs. That's why we have the Posse Comitatus Act. Using the Guard could be a devious tactic. He may be hoping to set neighbor against neighbor so that the people called to duty return to their home and workplace with stories of violence and injuries. In the longer run, Trump may be trying to create a national emergency that will enable him to exercise authoritarian control. And think about the other emergencies that he's declared. We're being invaded, so he gets to invoke the Alien Enemies Act. Trade deficits are an emergency, so he gets to impose tariffs. He has for years been trying to desensitize the citizens of the United States to un-American ideas and unconstitutional actions. The American system of government was never meant to cope with a rogue president. Yet Trump is not unstoppable. Double negative. Double negative. Thwarting his authoritarianism will require restraint on the part of the public. Cool. Some steely nerves on the part of state and local authorities. Okay. And vigilant action from national elected representatives who should be stepping in to raise the alarm and to demand explanations about the president's misuse of the military. Okay, so we're fucked. We're fucked. We're fucked. Vigilant action from national elected representatives. So 85-year-old Steny Hoyer and 84-year-old Nancy Pelosi and Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer are going to be all over that. Maybe Chuck Schumer can write another sternly worded letter. And do another one of the "We will win. We will win. We won't stop. We won't quit." And, maybe Hakeem Jeffries can skip a couple of meetings with AIPAC to get on the case. As unsatisfying as it might be for some citizens to hear, the last thing anyone should do is take to the streets of Los Angeles and try to confront the military or any of California's law enforcement authorities. Those are two separate things. ICE is on a rampage, agreed, but physically assaulting or obstructing its agents and thus causing confrontation with the cops who have to protect them, whether those police officers like it or not, will provide precisely the pretext that some of the people in Trump's White House are trying to create. That I begrudgingly agree with. The president and his coterie want people walking around taking selfies in gas clouds, waving Mexican flags, holding up traffic, and burning cars. Judging by reactions on social media and interviews on television, a lot of people seem to think such performances are heroic. People just want somebody who's going to fight, man, which means they're poised to give Trump's enforcers what they are hoping for. Be warned, Trump is expecting resistance. You will not be heroes. You will be the pretext. Again, I'm cranky, but yes. Instead, the most dramatic public action the residents of Southern California could take right now would be to ensure that Trump's forces arrive on calm streets. Imagine the reaction of National Guard members as they look around and wonder what exactly the commander-in-chief was thinking. Why are they carrying rifles in the streets of downtown America? What does anyone expect them to do? Put another way, what if the president throws a crackdown and nobody comes? As that's what happened today on Sunday. This kind of restraint will deny Trump the political oxygen he's trying to generate. He is resorting to the grand theater of militarism because he is losing on multiple fronts in the courts, and he knows it. The law, for most people, excuse me, is dreary to hear about. But one of the most important stories of Trump's second term is that lawyers and judges are so far holding a vital line against the administration, sometimes at great personal risk. Trump is also losing public support, which is another reason he's zeroing in on California and Los Angeles. I think San Francisco's next. He is resolutely ignorant in many ways, but he has an excellent instinct for picking the right fights. The fact of the matter is that tens of millions of Americans believe that almost everything about immigration in the United States has long been deeply dysfunctional. The author is one of them. I am also one of those people. If he sends the military into Los Angeles and National Guard members end up clashing in high-definition video with wannabe resistance gladiators, white women, sorry, resistance gladiators in balaclavas, many people who have not been paying attention to his other ghastly antics will support him. The author and I are not one of those people. So far, even the Los Angeles Police Department, not exactly a bastion of squishy suburban book club liberals, has emphasized that the protests have been mostly peaceful. Trump is apparently trying to change that. Sending in the National Guard is meant to provoke, not pacify, and his power will only grow if he succeeds in tempting Americans to intemperate reactions that give him the authoritarian opening he is seeking. Again, it's like, I wish I could just show you guys videos of my dogs. I know that you guys enjoy when I show you guys videos of my dogs, but authoritarianism is here. Fascism is here. Donald Trump is deploying the United States military into the streets of American cities in violation of the law. He is behaving as though he has invoked the Insurrection Act without having actually invoked the Insurrection Act. So I'd like to close this video out by saying, Donald Trump, go fuck yourself. And the same goes for you, Stephen Miller, J.D. Vance, Pam Bondi, Little Cash Patel, drunken rapist, allegedly, Pete Hegseth, and all of you other fucks. Fuck every single one of you. If you enjoyed this video, please click like. Please leave a comment, even if it's misspelled and you don't quite have a handle on there, and there, or two, and two, or then versus than, because that's how we spot you guys in the comments. Please also subscribe to my page. It is free to do so. It's Sunday night. Tomorrow is Monday. It's another fucking week. Please, everyone, please be safe. Thank you for watching. I will see you soon.